Today's video is going to be the world premiere of the Schrade SCHF36M Bushcraft Knife. Micarta handles. My name is Brian and you're watching Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. Thanks for joining me. As I said, I'm really excited. This video is going to be actually the world premiere. I think according to the Vice President of Schrade, I received the very first of these particular models to review samples of anybody in the world, and that is the Schrade SCHF36M Micarta handles. Now, some other people, Chris with Prepared Mind 101 especially, has reviewed the SCHF M36 with the TPR handles, but this is the first time that you've seen this one with the Micarta handles, and it's got a different finish on it. But the steel, as opposed to being 1095 carbon steel, this is 8 CR13 MOV high carbon stainless steel. So if you're in a wet weather environment, this might be a good choice for you, or just for long-term survival. We're going to take some close-ups of this knife real quick because I think it's extremely pretty, and then we're going to get straight to using it. Okay, well, here's some close-ups of the Schrade SCHF36M full Tang Bushcraft Knife. And as you can see, this knife features micarta handles. It has a finger choil and pretty much a drop point full Tang Bushcraft blade. The blade steel is 8 CR13 MOV, and the blade thickness is 0.23 inches, so it is a little more than, it's actually about halfway between 3/16 and 1/4 of an inch. Okay, that's some close-ups, a little maybe beauty shot, whatever you want to call it. I want to kind of show you a couple things that's hard to see in that fixed position. But in addition to the jimping on top of the blade, in addition to the jimping on top of the handle, which is perfect position for your thumb, I mean literally perfect. This also has some jimping on bottom just to give you some good grip if you're chopping or whatever. And it's got a finger choil here, which is, you know, in my opinion, it's just it could be a little bit bigger, but that's okay. I mean, really, my hands are not very big. If you had really fat fingers, that might be not quite big enough, but it definitely lets you get a really choked up grip on this thing, so you can do some really fine carving. Kind of a drop point blade. Looks to be like a pretty much saber grind, maybe kind of saber flat point grind. It almost feels a little bit like a hollow grind. It's really hard to tell, really hard to tell. I'll see if I can find that out and put it in the description for you, but it's got this really tough coating. We'll see how well that thing stays clean and shiny. I know you may wind up stripping this, I don't know, but one of the cool features about this is it's got the micarta handles, so those are just really nice. They got a really good grip. It's just a really solid looking knife. So let me show you the sheath real quick, and then I'll quit talking and we'll start doing some knife stuff. So I can get this thing off of here. Okay, so the sheath is one of these deals here. Let me back up a little bit. And it's a nylon sheath. It's got the carry loop on back that theoretically you can put this on your belt without taking it off. I always have trouble with that. I just take my belt off, but it's very secure, which is good. It's got an extra little pocket on front, which is pretty cool. It's got elastic to kind of hold it in shape and a Velcro on it. And it comes with a firesteel and a striker, very similar to some of the other Schrade products, and a little diamond sharpening wheel. A little diamond sharpening steel, which is pretty cool to keep your knife sharp in the field. And then a little pocket on it. In addition to that, you could also put, you know, whatever else you want in this thing. I guess if you didn't want to put the firesteel in it. It's got a lanyard loop on bottom. You can strap this to your leg or whatever, and that's pretty much it. Also a little plastic liner in there, and the retention up top is an adjustable snap strap. So just to show you, I mean, the knife obviously fits in there. I say obviously, but maybe that's not obvious to you. Fits right in very nicely and snaps up shut. There you go. That's very solid retention. Hangs pretty nicely on your belt. Actually, you know, it's very functional, and I don't really see any need to replace it right now. Okay, so I've got the SCHF36M here, and I've actually got some cedar, dead cedar. I thought I'd try to do is just go ahead and do some knife stuff and see how well it works. So I'm gonna readjust the camera here and we'll get started. Go ahead and start with some chopping. We'll just see how well it chops. Like I say, this has been there long enough to have some moss on it, so it's kind of damp on the outside, but you'll find kind of typical of what you're going to find in a real true life situation. So let's see what we can do with it. Saw Joe Flowers' video last night where he said, you don't have to chop all the way through something. If you can break it, then break it. That's what you're going to do in the real world, right? But this cedar is hard stuff. Very resilient and springy too, so we'll try it. Ought to break now. There we go. Okay, so now look at that. Isn't that cool? That is just such a neat tree. Let me find a baton. We'll see if we can split some of this up. Okay, I couldn't really find one, so couldn't find a baton, so I'm just going to go ahead and make one. So I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, so I've got two now. Actually, before I do any batoning, I think what we'll do, cedar bark is a really good fire resource. Now some of this is kind of wet, as you can see, it's very wet there. But there's also some dry on the other side, so we're going to try to scrape. One of the tasks, this thing's got a really sharp 90-degree spine on it. You can see that, so we're going to see how well it'll actually do some scraping. Some of the cedar bark. And this stuff is really wet, but it does a good job of it. If I can find some dry, it'd be even better, but either way, I'm going to scrape it off and let it dry. Hopefully some of it will dry out while we're doing this, because one of my goals is to try to build a one-stick fire here today and show you an actual usage of the knife. So may not be able to use that bark for tinder. It's kind of wet though. Let's see what we got here on this side. That's all kind of wet. But so we may have to do this the hard way. That's okay too. So I'm going to go ahead and do some batoning. This is, like I said, a 4-inch blade, 4.5. Well, I forget what it was, but it's this is hard cedar, and this is plenty big enough. Again, that knife is super thick. I'm not at all concerned about its ability to baton, but we'll go ahead and beat the heck out of it anyway, because that's what we need to do to get some dry wood on the inside of the cedar. You see that? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. So let's go ahead and put that on the bottom there. Split out some more. Maybe split out one more time here. Got a knot right there. You can see the little knot right there is trying to go through right here. So it's got a little resistance there, some tough stuff. All right. There's the it's a little knot, but we just went through it, straight through it. So I'm not going to do like Magnus Anderson and do this as fast as I can. He did a really great video on that. If you haven't seen it, check it out at his channel. It's a one stick fire challenge that he did a while back, several months ago, and he did a pretty good job if you ask me. 3 or 4 minutes, start to finish. I think he had a piece of pine, but I'm not going to go quite that extreme here. We're just trying to show you an actual kind of practical type use for the some of these skills that we always talk about, batoning and whatnot. It's not just about seeing how tough your knife is. It really does have value. And you know, a lot of people will say, well, I just don't baton my knife, I use an axe, I carry a hatchet. Well, that's great, but when you get down to this size here, hatchet's really dangerous, to be honest with you. The knife is a lot safer, and so that's kind of what I prefer to use for fire making. So go ahead and split this down a little more. Another knot. One more time. Maybe one more here. Okay, you can see this covering, this coating just really picks up the gunk. So, but let's see what we can do about a feather stick now. Okay, wow. I think that's an excellent job on this knife. I'm gonna make a couple more of these. I'll pause this, make a couple more, and get back to you. Okay, there's a nice pretty one. Is that not the prettiest feather stick you ever saw? I really like this purple cedar, red cedar, whatever you call it. So go ahead and let's put a couple more of these. That's kind of the wet side. So we'll go ahead and probably ease these down just a little more. Couple of these, and move this thing over to a safe place and see if we can get a fire going. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and make some pretty big ones, kind of like just big shavings to go ahead and use along with the feather sticks to get things going. And this red part is really hard. It's dry too, so I have to pick these things up. They're flying all over the place, but I'll pick them up. Really tough wood right here. Super dry too, listen to this. Okay, let's move the camera, see if I can get this thing burning. Okay, so I came over here to a little wash and got feather sticks here, and just to try to be as fair as possible, I'm really partial to my fat wood, but I'm going to try to use not only the cedar here, but I'm going to try to use the ferro rod firesteel that came with the knife. So I give myself a little bit of some pretty fine shavings down here. See if I can get a close up for you. Let's see if we can get this thing going. It's some brand new firesteel, so let's see what happens. Man, this thing saves fire like it saves this steel like there's no tomorrow. Wish I had some fat wood, but looky there, looky there. Okay, so I'm not going to build a gigantic fire here because I don't need one. That would take too long, and it's really not the purpose of this. I think you can see, hopefully, that at this point in time, if you can get it this far, if you have your firewood already, then you'll be able to have a fire. There's no reason you won't. This is, in my opinion, this is at a point where you should be able to get a sustainable fire out of this. You got a good flame going. We'll go ahead and build up a little bit, and so. And I have put it out, haven't I? Or not. Like I said, this was kind of damp wood, but the inside was dry. And let it go just a little bit longer so you can see that I'm not trying to con you. I really can build a fire. Okay, at this point, would you agree with me that that is sustainable? Okay, so that was a little real actual use test of the Schrade SCHF36M Micarta handle full Tang bushcraft knife. And I just thought it'd be a little better to do that than to you know, go through the same old thing I always do, and just step by step. Kind of did the same process as I always test. We tested batoning, we tested chopping, tested carving and shaving and feather stick, tested striking the ferro rod, and the only thing we haven't really tested is the balance of this knife. And I can tell you it's extremely well balanced. By the way, I'd like to remind you that the folks at Schrade, we here at Survival on Purpose, would never ever suggest that you throw a knife. Not only is it possibly harmful to your knife, it is extremely dangerous, could cause injury or death. So never, ever, 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 ever throw a knife. It'll void your warranty too, by the way. This knife is not out yet. This is a 2015 model, so you can't buy this. It's not on their website yet, at least at the time of this video. And Schrade was kind enough to send me this. They also sent me his big brother, I think the 37. I have to check out. There'll be another video on that. Same style knife, just bigger. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty impressed with this thing. It's again, this coating, as you can see, I'm gonna try to wash it up, but my experience is it doesn't wash very well. That's the one thing that I'm really not thrilled about with this knife, is the coating. But it does protect the blade. A lot of people like coatings on their knives. That's just a personal thing for me. Not too thrilled with it, to be honest with you. But I think that Chris with Prepared Mind 101, he's got some really good videos on how to strip coatings and refinish the knife, and I think he has done or is going to do that with a similar knife to this. I may try it with this one, but I wanted to show it to you straight out of the box. And I didn't show you the finger choil, but carving with the finger choil, but it's like, you know, it's not a big deal. You put your finger there and it just gives you some really, really good control. I found that I didn't really even need it. I don't know if this thing really did a great job on feather sticks, on some really hard cedar. The jimping is not too overly aggressive. It's just about right. You know, there's a lot of people that may really, we're going to have a big negative maybe because it's not carbon steel. But as you saw, for a ferro rod, this thing throws sparks like no tomorrow. And the only drawback to I guess the only advantage possibly to carbon steel is the ability to possibly make some sparks with a rock for flint and steel. Other than the non-carbon steel, I don't see why anybody could have anything bad to say about this knife. If you don't like coating, strip it off. But I personally think stainless steel is just fine. It actually, for a lot of climates and places you might live, stainless steel is probably preferable. But very, very solid knife. Extremely, I almost dropped it again. This just, man, this thing is really, really feels good in your hand. The grip is extremely comfortable. It's got these little kind of notches for your finger here. It's just extremely well balanced. As far as chopping goes, it's got enough of a swirl here. I kind of use a two-finger technique like this, and it seems to work pretty good. It just did a great job. I mean, all around. Is it a perfect chopper? No, it's a little small for be a perfect chopper, but for an all-around knife, man, I'm really thrilled with this thing. I'm so glad to see Schrade come out with more of a bushcraft style knife, and I think they hit a home run with this one. I really do. And again, I don't know the price on this knife yet. It's not out, but if I had to guess, if it's anything like Schrade's other stuff, it's going to be extremely value priced, because they just do a great job of putting out high quality products at a price that almost everybody can afford. I think this one's going to be a little more retail than the non Micarta handle one with the carbon steel that you might have seen already. But other than that, it's pretty cool, and I think it's going to be worth it. That's a really great feeling handle. I didn't show you, by the way, the pommel there, but you could bang on stuff with that. I mean, that's, you know, crush bark up or crush wood up or tinder or whatever. Pretty good. So anyway, I'll stop rambling. That's the brand new, never before seen as of the date of this video, Schrade SCHF36M full tang micarta handle bushcraft knife. This is a super good knife. So I think Schrade again has hit a home run with this one. So as always, thanks for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for clicking that thumbs up button down below. Let Google know you like outdoor videos and knife videos and stuff. And please share this with your friends if you think they'll like it. If you want to support this channel, you can check out the Amazon links below. I'd really appreciate it. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared.